Barbara got on me last time for not coming over here and saying hi to her. So.
Oh.
Not easy to do. Why not?
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So happy to see you. Reverend Sandy is home taking care of herself, so I'm the impromptu host today. I'm looking around, everybody knows who I am. There we go. Nobody knew, nobody knew, nobody knew, anybody knew, anybody knew? Yeah. Anybody new on Zoom?
We can speak a little louder in that mic.
Nope. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Good morning, good morning. Okay, everyone, this year, 2023, has been deemed the year of living from one's core values. And the themes for July are discipline, discernment, and development. Now, our musician today, who's been playing for us, we have two musicians. We have Lori B. Ballard, Reverend, I might add, and we have John Stanley. Woohoo! Before meditation, Lori is going to grace us with one of her songs. We're going to get quite a few songs today, so Lori, I turn it over to you, my friend.
So this, don't worry, we're still going to give you time for silence in your meditation. This is, I thought, would be a good song, since it's called Compassion, to kind of listen to get us into that meditation, okay? And of course, I got John Stanley accompanying me also. Have compassion for everyone you meet, even if they don't want it. What seems concealed is always a sign, always a sign, always a sign. For those you encounter, have compassion, even if they don't want it. What seems bad manners is always a sign, always a sign, always a sign. Always a sign of things that's worth effort. Always a sign of things no eyes have seen. You do not know what wars are going on down there where the spirit meets the bone. Down there the bone, down there where the spirit meets the bone. no ears have heard, always a sign of things no eyes have seen. You do not know what wars are going on down there where the spirit meets the bone. Down there where the spirit meets the bone. Down there where the spirit meets the bone.
If you haven't already, I encourage you to feel your feet on the floor. Notice your breathing. And move so easily in the silence. Bringing your attention back into the room. Joe and I played a game this morning. It was called You Know You're Loved When. And then fill in the blank. You know you're loved when. And as he and I were playing this game, memory came to him of a favorite show with a favorite character that likes to make up words. And the words that were made up by this person were soulsome and roundy. Our community is filled with soulsomeness. And roundy means there's no edges. So fun. So, I'd like to invite up our spiritual thought practitioner intern, Jackie Stringer. Come on up, Jackie.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
This here. Okay. Well, first, a lot of you may or may not know me. I actually am In 2020, I became an ordained minister and a practitioner, but it was on my own, separate from PLC. And I didn't feel like I had my feet wet or anything. I just felt like, well, thank you for the certificate. I'm gonna put it in a drawer. And then I've been up in Oakhurst for about 3.5 years, and I've known Luana for about 20. And I call her, you don't know it, but my undercover guru, because she's kind of been like a Tinkerbell in the back of my life, like spreading little pixie dust and like, oh, reminding me like there is more. And moving up here, it was just like, it wasn't an expected thing, but it's been a wonderful thing. And that's how I found PLC. And my kids go to school around here. So I would drive by and I'd be like, what's that place? And I have to make a confession that I had a feeling like, is that a cult? Like that could be a cult. But I saw a meme this week and it made me laugh because it's like, I'm smart enough to know when something's a cult, but I am nosy enough to join it. So little old me started coming here. There was a class on A Course in Miracles, and I had just picked that up, and I'm like, well, that's so crazy. I need to go figure out more about this book. And came here, and I left, and I was like, wasn't so sure yet that it wasn't a cult. I was like, maybe it is, And then I found, I'm being so honest with you guys, because that's really what I thought. And Luana told me, I don't know if you told me about the book, but I started a book, a class that you were doing, spontaneous
Fulfillment of desire.
fulfillment of desire. And it was a big class, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I think I want to be a part of this. I don't know. And then 3 more classes went, and I was just like, I'm fully in. And coming here, I was like, wow, if this is cult, I'm totally your first member. I'm here. So anyway, that's me. What I want to talk to you today about is discernment. And discernment is it's not a heavy word. It's just kind of like one of those words like, oh yeah, discernment. I don't know, it just makes me go, yeah, it's a good thing. And my son, I think it was last week when I knew that it was, we were looking, he showed me a video. And it's one of those like prank videos where it's like made to look like it's authentic, but you know they rehearsed it. And I just go, yeah, that's fake. And he's like, well, it's not fake, they're doing it. I said, yeah, but kind of discernment is understanding what's fact versus what's truth. Because in our lives, things are happening in front of us all the time. And we take that a lot of time as a fact, like, oh, I don't have enough money this week to go buy groceries. That may be a fact, but the truth is it's probably coming next week. There's a different truth that we just have to grab onto. To me, that's kind of what discernment is. And in Latin, dis means it's apart, and cern is separate. So to me, I kept on seeing, like looking through curtains, like you're peekabooing, somebody's telling you this, but what are they really saying? What's really happening in the situation? And it kind of made me go, oh, I've been doing that, I think, for a long time. And it's not judging your situation, because judgment to me holds a very heavy energy. So I wrote down how judgment feels to me and how discernment feels to me. And then I kind of like looked at both of them, and judgment has a heavy feeling to me, and discernment is very light. Judgment condemns, and discernment is compassionate. Judgment can be harmful, not only to the person judging, but to the other person being judged. Whereas discernment is actually very helpful. And heavy judgment there's almost a conclusion, end of story. I'm not thinking about this again. I made a judgment and that's it, black and white. Discernment leaves you curious, right? It leaves you open to like, oh, I'm seeing something happening here. They're saying this, but this is what they mean. And it's almost like a aha moment, because everything in your life is like, ooh, that's not what's really happening. So it's really interesting going into life, feeling those energies. And now I kind of put the words to them like, okay, that makes more sense to my soul. And I think I've been I understand discernment so well because it's something that I know it's a spiritual gift. And for me, it came about, which I would call childhood trauma. It's not a trauma where I got hurt or hit or kicked or anything like that, but it's a trauma that my soul took note of and said, oh, okay, you can't do that anymore because somebody's gonna look at you that way. So it's like I started to discern certain things at a really young age. And funny story, and I had opened up in one of our classes about my sister. My sister's 4 years older than I, and my dad was in the Air Force, and we lived in Japan when I was young. I was about 4 years old, and at that time we were taking a bath together, and 4 is that fun age where you're like, I'm old enough to know better, but I'm young enough not to give a. So I was just a little firecracker, and my sister, I've just found a new love for her in my heart because she never wanted a little sister because she was the little sister. She was the little one, and then I came along with this crazy like attitude and just like, where did you come from? That's how she would look at me. And we were in the bathtub, and we're at that age where you don't have to have parents watching you. We're, washing ourselves, having a good time. I had my toys, and I don't remember how or what, but I guess I needed to go number 2. And sorry guys, this is a story that I thought I had to share. So bear with me. And I just, let it out, and I thought, oh, no biggie. Number 2 is like hanging out with us in the pool, and not the pool, in the tub. So my sister's screaming bloody murder as if like I had hurt her, stood up on the bathtub, and I scooped it up because she's screaming my mom's name. Mom, get in here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be in trouble for doing this. So I scooped it up and I ran to the toilet and I flushed it before my mom got in there. And I was like, I felt victorious. I was like, it's gone. And I jumped back in the tub like nothing ever happened. I was such a brat. Because then mom was like, well, what's the big deal? I'm like, nothing. So what happened with that wasn't the trauma. The trauma is my sister being so upset with me. She was very upset with me. And she said, nobody's gonna like you. Nobody's gonna like you. So you gotta stop doing all that. And that was like one of the first times I remember her telling me. And throughout our childhood, I would just be like doing crazy skits in front of them, just in my own head. And she's like, you cannot do that in high school because nobody's gonna like you. And I was like, oh, nobody's gonna like me. And I kind of took that. And whenever I could feel my authentic self coming out with people, I would hold back. Because I thought, oh, they're not gonna like me. And I think the opposite was true. They could feel my inauthenticity. And that was unfortunate. But it's a lesson, right? It's a lesson. I'm not holding on to that pain anymore, which made me start thinking of the word triggered. And in this day and age, it's like, oh, trigger warning. Triggers are there for us to understand what we need to work on. It's a trigger because think of it as a gun. You're holding the gun. You're actually shooting yourself. When you're triggered, it's something within you saying, ooh, that's a little too much for me to handle. And you may not be able to handle it right now, but it's something for you to take note of. It's not something to hide away. I don't want to face that. Please don't mention this name. Please don't say this. And I watch YouTube videos and they're blanking out words that I think are important. And I'm like, why are they blanking that out? Oh, because it's a trigger. I'm like, that's so crazy to me. But it's scary to face the things that trigger us. It's not easy. It is not easy. One of the things that I've been learning to use when I feel like I'm being triggered by something I don't understand, because I feel it too. I'm not perfect. I feel it and I go, I've been learning the Ho'oponopono, where it doesn't feel like yours, but I'm gonna have to grab it, I'm gonna have to heal it, and I'm gonna have to move through this because I'm not gonna be stuck in this anymore. And you just say, thank you. I'm sorry. please forgive me. I love you. And they're such simple phrases, but somehow it unlocks something within us to say, you're right. And that little girl in me, that 4-year-old was like, oh, I can rest now. I can be me. I can be my authentic self. I can be crazy. And if people don't like me, I don't care. Because you're missing out. That's So, in closing, some of the things that I'm learning to discern that I didn't quite get before were, it's not enabling or harmful to disregard poor behavior in somebody because they're you. They're displaying something that is getting you. So if in that instance you can provide forgiveness and grace, knowing they're in it. Something that they're saying, it means something to them and it means something to you, and you're not sure exactly what it is, but it doesn't feel quite great. If you can, and I'm learning this, it's like, just say, you don't have to say anything like, how dare you say that? Just like, take note and do a ho'oponopono, whatever works for you, but that's worked for me. What discernment does is it allows you to take a situation, an emotion, a feeling, and you alchemize it, and you turn it around, and you make it work for you. And this is something that I am learning. It's teaching that for some reason for me, it's big time. And I think it's big time for everybody. It's not just me. It's a message that I guess I'm put here to put into words. And oddly enough, when you discern, unlike Latin words to separate, we actually have to learn not to separate ourselves from others because they are us and we are them. Yes. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Plenty to learn and grow with. And remember, those stories, they stick with you, don't they? Love that. All right. Lori B. Ballard. And John. Big John.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Jackie, I have learned not to poop in the bathtub.
Thank goodness.
It's kind of a bluesy song I wrote about a year ago, and then I didn't really like it when I wrote it, and so I kind of tweaked it a bit. So now I like it okay. So it's okay to do today. But John on the harmonica. Okay. This is when I got to put the cape on.
Long gray beard and sat from me, oh no, oh no. Well, I'm not finding, I can't believe it's so. Now I'm not a sinner and neither are you, and no one should be judging us for what we do, oh no. The truth is, well, if you change your thinking, you can change your life. The devil's just a story, it don't mean that it's right. And focus your attention on what you want. Don't dwell on the down road, the turning of the heart. Hey, John. under the light will bring you what you really want, so never lose sight. Keep your good vibrations high, stay away from those who are below. The choices I make now will be the mine and my boat, and don't go blaming others for all my sorrows. Now if you change your thinking, you can change your life. The devil's story don't mean that it's right. Focus your attention on what you want. Don't dwell on the down or on the dirty love thought. Change your thinking, you can change your life. The devil's just a story don't mean that it's right. Focus your attention on what you want. Don't dwell on the down low and the dirty love thoughts. One more time.
So good. Love, love, love. Not only the musicianship, because boy, can you feel that music, but also we have our own composer.
Yes.
All kinds of songs,
Yes.
bringing it to us every time she shows up. Thank you, Lori. Talking about bringing it to us. Mr. Reverend Honey Bunny, I'm sorry, Joe Bull.
Thank you. You call me Honey Bunny at church? Where's the authority in that?
With the bunny.
With the bunny. Good morning, everybody. I was thinking about what I wanted to speak with you about last week. I was going through my mind and my head of what I want to talk about today. A lot of these things have already been talked about this month. But I got to thinking about what Reverend Missy had said last week. And I'm probably misquoting her all over the place, but she said some things that endured me to sit down last week and close my eyes and just start writing whatever was on my mind. And she had mentioned last week that love is a religion. And there's a song that I heard back in the early 2000s that's called "Love Is My Religion." And it was by a man by the name of what's his first name? Different. Anyway, it was a song that was written back then, and I got his last name was Marley, Bob Marley. You remember Bob Marley from back in the day? He was with us. His son wrote that song, and it became my religion. Love is my religion, and that was kind of my mantra when I was at work. All the time when I was having some difficulty dealing with all the stresses of work, when I was sitting and just writing reports, I'm going, love is my religion. It really helped me to think about that. So thank you, Reverend Missy, for bringing that up. And she also mentioned that God is our adventure. And that is so true, really true. But I want to talk to you about a little bit about discipline. As a child, the word discipline was not something I really wanted to hear. Because it meant I was in trouble. I had done something wrong again. And there was consequences to bad behavior, I found out through my parents and other people. And self-discipline is different than being disciplined as a child or even as an adult, isn't it? It's different, it's a different feeling. I was learning the difference from a child to an adult because I was in the law enforcement field. And those who are in law enforcement and military know that when you're going through that kind of training, you help to develop skills for yourself. Intentional standards and procedures must be followed when you're in something that's structured. And I was kind of a structured guy anyway. You had laws and behaviors that were drilled into you, and you lived them daily, on duty and off, I found. You either developed these standards and adhered to them, or you were dismissed. Anyone who was in law enforcement, military know that. And self-discipline is something that comes from different sources in life. It does. It comes from all around us. Depending on how we were raised, we learned in society what was acceptable and what was not, as I mentioned. Once we entered school, we learned what we could and could not do according to teachers, the principal, maybe even the janitor, you know. As a kid, everybody was like an authority over you, it felt like. And anyone who said, don't do that, I just didn't do that. I thought, okay, they're an authority here. And a lot of people at school taught us right from wrong behavior. That was all of helping us to learn how to act, how to blend in society. And I had people, buddies in my life who didn't care about rules and they liked to break them a lot. And I just laughed at them and I got in trouble for laughing. I didn't even say the wrong thing, but just because I was hanging out with them. Reverend Missy mentioned several themes of discipline. As we develop discipline, it causes us to knock on the door of opportunity and the door opens. And that is so very, very true, isn't it? When she said God is our adventure, it made me think to say, believe, God is our adventure. We believe to the degree that we become conscious of it. That's how much we can believe. And she said, what we seek is seeking us, and it's absolutely true. That's beautiful, and it's so true today. The divine in us has always been there, reveals itself to us each and every moment of each and every day when we allow it, when we allow Spirit to come to us. The Spirit is always there. Self-discipline takes us to a wide open world of opportunity, opens many doors. Discipline helps us achieve goals, helps us keep commitments, and stay focused on the task at hand. It brings about unity between people, of course, peace in society, where rules and regulations are obeyed by all on this planet. And Reverend Missy also mentioned that through awareness, we experience a better life. I have people tell me they love to travel to sacred places to find God's presence, to feel God's presence. Places like Sedona, Arizona, places in Egypt, India, Israel, wherever these special places are across the planet to seek God's wisdom and presence. And that's fabulous. I love that. But do you also feel the sacred place at home? And maybe on a walk, in a garden, while traveling in your car for a good distance. I hope you do, because we have that sacred feeling wherever we are. We can have it. We don't have to go long distances to find a sacred feeling, to get away from where we live and who we are. I used my discipline recently in a very unpleasant situation on Thursday. I had to go see my dentist. I busted a tooth, a molar, several weeks ago, and I had to go see him, and he couldn't save it. He had to remove that tooth, and that wasn't fun. And but then I had to wait for about 2 months for that to heal, and he says, I'm going to have you come back, and then we're going to start the procedure of doing a dental implant in there. So, okay, so I found myself in his chair on Thursday afternoon, and this was the first of 2 parts of getting this implant done. And they roll you completely flat, you bring you elevate the chair up, and you got these goggles on, and I feel like I got 15 things in my mouth as they're working on me. I got the dentist here, and I got an assistant here, and I was really stressing out because he was giving me shots to numb up everything, and I just don't have a good time with that. And I love my dentist, great guy, but all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, I can make this a better experience for myself. And all I kept thinking when I was laying there was, God is all there is, and God is all there will ever be. And I just kept saying it over and over in my head, because I'd learned that a long time ago. And I just kept repeating that. And pretty soon I was actually dozing asleep. And pretty soon, next thing I know, my dentist is waking me up going, hey, we're done. And all went very, very well. Everything's perfect. Of course it is. Because God was right there in it, and I knew it, even in his hands. So that really helped me to just take time out to just sit and listen and close my eyes and go within my happy place. We all have a happy place, I think. At least I hope we do. We will receive so much joy, information, sounds, and peace wherever we are, on the sacred ground wherever we are, wherever we are. When we receive that peace, that calm, that love, being grateful, then we are ready to reach to give that to somebody else at the same time, aren't we? When we feel good about ourselves, it's easy to give that to somebody else. And it feels good. It's a feel-good feeling. That maybe greeting a friend, a loved one at home, your partner in life, your children, your family, your pets. Think about how warmly you feel and what you did just for any other living being. It's a great feeling, isn't it? When you give, you're receiving at the same time. Taking that kind of time is one of the easiest disciplines you can practice. Through awareness, we experience a better life. As we use discipline as a friend, as a guide, our duties, our chores, our lives become easier and greater. We let discipline be our friend. We can change the course of our day through spiritual practices using discipline as our guide. Clearing our minds at any given time of a day through what we have learned here at the Positive Living Center. What the center offers us here in teachings, reminding us of disciplines such as the power of prayer, meditation, the things that we offer, like the drum circle with Reverend Judy, the flute circle with practitioner John Lalonde, and so many other activities are here. So many variances of things that we can take on here and be a part of, and to feel like we're a part of something important here at the PLC. That we have practitioners and ministers available to us all the time, all the time. All these things and so much more to remind us of our good and how grateful we can be. Although discipline means having to focus on something attached to rules in life and society, it also results in freedom. Freedom to be who you are. Discipline allows us to practice the daily habits that get us to the things we want. I use discipline to get up early in the mornings. I used to work midnights and swing shifts and holidays and weekends. And I was always working the night shifts. And then when I finally got to day shift and beyond and retired, even to this day, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning because it's dark and it's cool and it's quiet. And I get a cup of coffee and I sit in my easy chair and I got two of my most beautiful cats sitting on both sides of me, loving me up. It gives me a chance to just be and just think and start how I want to start my day and how I want to trace throughout my day, my time, and be happy with what I'm doing, whether it's a duty or something I truly love. I love that time of morning. I believe self-discipline allows us to do more things that truly bring us life because we are choosing to do less of the things that drain us, leading us towards the person we truly want to be. Truly want to be. That is true freedom. Absolutely true freedom. Reverend Missy also talked about consistency, and she was spot on about that, how it is important to be consistent. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day leads to great achievements, gained slowly over time. They become a habit for us, a positive habit. Success is a journey one step at a time. Choose a routine or habit you have been wanting to do based on that alone. That is what our teachings at the Positive Living Center present to me and to you. It helps us make wise choices and helps us to stay healthy, happy, and productive because we're meant to be happy and healthy on this planet. This is our planet. years ago, I was leading a men's group in a Fresno church, and we all went up for 3 days up in Tulare County into the foothills. There was a lodge up there, and we stayed up there for 3 days, just me and some guys from church. And part of the program, we were sitting around visiting, and I asked them about 9 o'clock in the morning, say, you guys take a walk with me? They said, sure. So I took them out of that area, and we walked toward a forest area, and I took them over a man-made bridge with water running underneath it. We kept going over that, and we went into the forest area, and there was a big row of trees all around us, kind of encircling us, and there was maybe 4 to 5 inches of grass below our feet. And I asked the guys to circle there with me, and they did, and I just said, close your eyes and just listen for 2 minutes. Just listen. And we did that. Then I started asking the guys, anyone want to share what they heard? One of the guys said, I heard the water running in the little creek next to us. So great. Anybody else? I heard the wind blowing through the trees above our heads. Oh, yeah. What else did you hear? He went on about hearing all kinds of things, chipmunks and squirrels, and they started feeling the forest coming alive with their eyes closed all around us. It was a beautiful moment. We got through. I asked everybody to open their eyes, and I said, gentlemen, we're standing on sacred ground. And they went, really? I said, yes, wherever we stand is sacred. Wherever you are is sacred ground from this point forward. And remind yourself of that. If you're standing with somebody someplace, you're on sacred ground together. And I told them, I said, going to far off distant places is wonderful, but you can have spirituality right where you are each and every day, where we sit. I think I've covered as much as I need to. Love is my religion, and so it is.
Thank you, Joe.
We call you Bunny.
Honey bunny. Gotta get the honey in
See
there.
what you did?
I did. It was fun. All right, I'd like to ask if I have a couple volunteers for offertory today. Anybody willing to?
I volunteer Barney.
You get to volunteer yourself.
Well, but I was gonna.
You are a Barney, come
I was
on.
gonna invite Barney to do it.
You are a Barney.
Two Barneys, yeah.
We got the Barneys.
Okay. It makes me very uncomfortable. I'm having an issue because I'm not used to being so in close context with another Barney.
Poor Barney.
Whoa, yeah. I know what guy's named John. I feel like.
If you'll join me, we'll do the offertory prayer. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Okay, and for anyone on Zoom, since we're all veterans of our community, you know how to tithe. You know that there's ways to tithe on the iFocus. There's a button there. There's an address there. We are very grateful for everyone's tithes. It not only keeps the lights on and the taxes paid and all that, but it also keeps the soulsomeness and the roundiness that we're all coming to love. Let's see here. Announcements. Do we have any announcements today? Yes. Come on up. Reverend Kim, come on.
Speed walking.
There you go.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is the last Sunday I'll be, this announcement, because it's happening next Sunday. And Diva Bonnie Lawrence will be here 10 o'clock, and she is going to share some of her poetry and her singing. And I hope you'll be here because it's going to be very special. And at the end of the service, she'll be at the back, and she's brought a couple of her poetry books that were just released, and they're doing quite well on Amazon. And it's called Falling Off the Moon. Is the name of her book. You can go look at it and see what it is. Kind of Rumi-esque type of, but it's her journey. And also I want to remind you about the beautiful artwork we have here, Carolyn's work that's on this side with the mandalas, and those are going to be donated. If the proceeds from the sale of any of those will be donated. And they're beautiful because every single one, as she has said, is a prayer, and has a wonderful title. So take those in if you like to look at those. And then we have also Judy's work there. And so I just think, we're so lucky. We're so lucky. So thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.
Any other announcements? Come on, Barney.
Got so much, just so much is happening through me, I think, really is what it is through me. But this week I do have I'm smushing together a couple companies, a company called Vortex that takes biomass, converts it into energy and usable products and beautiful soil amendments, and another company that manufactures walnut gear, and they're trying to expand. And so put a good thought in for that, because I think we're gonna sow the seeds of that final joining. But this is something I haven't really talked about very much at all, but does anyone remember the Sweetwater Steakhouse building? You've probably played there. No? Like, I'm hoping you will, because I've had this ridiculously grandiose vision for that place. It's been closed. It had to be foreclosed upon. They closed it. They started doing maintenance. The county smacked it down with a bunch of permit problems, and then the county was in disarray. And then we had COVID. So over 4 years ago, that place was closed, and people love that place. It's a beautiful facility. But now, since it's been closed for over a year, now 4 years, there's a lot of deferred maintenance. The owner is 87 years old. She lives in Newman, and she can't really sell it to get the money out of it that she needs. She can't really lease it to get out of the money. So she's now resigned herself to a certain extent to go with Plan B. And that's Plan B, of course, is Plan Barney. So my vision for that place, and it's just my vision, but I would love to open it up to this community, is to create a brewery. I've named that Ale Capitan, a distillery, and then off of the distillery, an apothecary. I have millions of dollars of food processing equipment and expertise that I can draw in to make those oils and essences. Right now, downstairs, we have 35 gallons of apricot oil that has been infused with paulownia flowers, and I'm sorry to bore you with paulownia, but we hope to make it into a learning laboratory for the local college, their culinary program, and turn it into, it's 13,000 square feet with 3 floors, and turn it into a community space where we may be able to join and do different things. So it's this week, you'll see the face of it change, because we're finally gonna we've gotten permits, we're finally gonna fix the falling down siding, we're going to fix the roof, and we're going to paint it. And my thoughts for the paint is, I mined this lapis lazuli stone when I was 23 years old in Mount Baldy, California. And I thought, California colors are blue and gold. So I'm leaning heavily to paint it lapis lazuli blue with maybe gold trim, or vice versa. It's yellow now. So if you're driving by there and you're moved to, because whatever I do, whatever I choose, 50% of the people are gonna go, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. And then the other half go, wow, that's really nice. But if you have an opinion, please offer it up and just put in a good thought. Do a little spiritual mind treatment for that building, not me. That building is a vessel that our community can fill with beauty and love and grace and generosity and kindness. And that's what I intend to do with it. And yet, it may just all, it can't happen, by the way. People tell me it can't happen. And I think it can.
Any other announcements? All right. So our prayer partner this week is practitioner intern Jackie. She'll be at the back of the room, available for treatment. And next week's speaker is Reverend Bob Hand. And if you'll join me, please, for the prayer of protection. The light of God, the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And as Joe said, it's sacred ground. I'd like to have Lori, she's got 2 songs for us. We're gonna have Angelo pray us out for our last prayer. Come on up, Lori. And John.
Well, first, I've been requested to always sing We Are One, okay? So, I don't know, do you feel like standing up and holding hands like we used to do in the old days? I mean, that's up to you. I've just got to hold on to my floor. Okay, I guess not. Tradition for many, many years at this point. We are scary. I'm going to end with a song that I wrote back in 2017. That was the year I got my little Subaru that is no longer here on Earth. Called Sweet Freedom. I think that's one of the biggest things. We are here to try to free ourselves, right? Yeah.
Lock me up inside and tease me with your keys.
if that's gonna play in that key that you need. So this is what John is trying to do. He's figuring it out.
Let's go, John. Let's go, John.
Sweet forgiveness. Can I have some sweet, sweet forgiveness? I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. Give me some sweet forgiveness. Now I feel better when I forgive you, and you'll feel better if you forgive too. Give me some sweet forgiveness. Sweet love. Give me some sweet love. So love is all there is. Can't get enough of it. Give me some sweet
Play that thing, John.
love. Now there can be no hate. Love is all there is. Give me some sweet. We got it, we got it. Now there can be no hate. Love is all there is. Just give me some sweet, sweet love.
Big test, baby.
Well, John, time's up.
You're right.
Thank you all.
All right, and I'd like to introduce our Angie
Thank
Pacello.
you. Join me in prayer. As we go forth this week, we open our hearts to the divine perfection that we are, the dimensions of unlimited potential and infinite possibilities. Our nature and the nature of God are one and the same. We are whole and complete and in perfect health. We accept the fact that we are superior to any and all circumstances and situations that come our way on this physical journey. We're grateful for this divine presence and release this truth of our being, knowing that it's so, and join with me in saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, everyone, for being here.